Well, the book of Mark, chapter 6, verses 30 through 44 share this story. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, "Come with me by yourself to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed, he saw a large crowd, and he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. "This is a remote place," they said, "and it's already very late. Send the people away so that they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But Jesus answered them, "You give them something to eat." They said to him, "That would take 8 months of a man's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat?" "How many loaves do you have?" Jesus asked. "Go and see." And when they found out, they said, five loaves and 2 fish. Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples to set before the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up the 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of the men who had eaten was 5,000. Well, a conversation that I have with folks from time to time, and as they read Scripture, people ask this, and maybe you've asked this, I know I've asked this, is you look around and you say, where are all these miracles? Like we read all these miracles in Scripture, and we look around, we don't see them. Where are the miracles today? And I think part of the reason that we ask this, and part of the reason maybe that we try to wrap our minds around this is because as we read it in Scripture, we try to compare what is happening in Scripture into our own context right now. So when you actually break down like what Jesus is really doing when he performs these miracles is Jesus is meeting the need of someone else, right? Oftentimes he does this through other people. I mean, in this case, you're dealing with hunger, right? Jesus wants to meet the need. These people have come. They've come expecting to hear something, see something, experience something with Jesus. And so Jesus recognizes that they're hungry. And so what happens then is food gets donated, not by Jesus, somebody else donates the food, right? And then Jesus prays for the food, and then the food gets multiplied and distributed all through other people. I mean, in fact, if you think about it, a lot of miracles in Scripture happen not at Jesus' hands, but at the hands of others. And this story is not an exception to that thought. And so you think about, like, what if the key people in this story had said no out of disbelief? Right? What if the one who donated the bread and the fish? What if the one who gave that up said, "No, I'm not, there's too many people here, and this is my only food. I can't feed this many people." Right? Or what if the disciples said, "This is embarrassing. Jesus, think about your logic. Think about how this is all going to function. We might be able to split this between 3 people, but they would still leave hungry. This is embarrassing." What if the disciples said, "We can't do this"? Or what if the people said, "We're not going to eat this weird magic bread," right? That it was produced way too fast for me to trust the science behind it. We're not going to put this in our bodies, right? What if the people said, "No, we're not going to eat this"? Well, if any of that happened, I mean, we wouldn't even be reading this story. Nothing would have happened. It would have just been a hungry crowd of people. You know, as I said before, the vast majority of miracles that happen in Scripture involve someone's willingness to serve. Like when Jesus turned the water to wine, it involved servants who were willing to fill those jugs up with water, even though they weren't sure what was going to happen. Right? When Jesus healed the paralyzed man, it took his friends a heart of service to climb up on the roof and pull the roof back and lower him down. I mean, so many more scriptures involves other people. So the point of this is that just because a person is the one who met the need in your life, right? Just because somebody wrote that check that was timely for you, just because somebody who had knowledge of how to fix a car, or somebody saved your life with microscopic surgery, just because it happened at the hands of another person does not mean it did not happen because of God. It doesn't make it less of a miracle. And so when you understand miracles that way, you can look around and see that miracles actually happen all the time. I mean, the fact that the creator of all that is interacts with us on an individual level and calls us in to meet the need of other people is incredibly miraculous. And so, church, I want to call you and encourage you to open your eyes today and look around, because today there's a possibility of a miracle in your life.